everyone. So it is Friday, the 24th of July, 2020, and just based on the positive responses on the couple of videos I did on Tesla, for which I have to apologize that the front title slide on the video didn't actually say Tesla, it still said Apple. Apologize about that. I fixed that on this one, but I was going to say, so I'm looking at Amazon. So Amazon definitely falls within the need to have a look at, because of course, as we know, Jeff Bezos added 13 billion to his wealth in a given day now. I think he's probably handed a big chunk of that back, and I think he's likely to hand a bit more back. So and that's what everyone will talk about, as opposed to just the simple fact that it's very much overpriced. And so what I'm going to show you here are where I believe the true value lies in its future, which would actually ironically present some good buying opportunities for individuals who might be leaning that way. So with commenting on the daily, price action is a lower high, and we're about to break the low, which usually just immediately means we're going to a weekly retracement, which is fine. If you look at the weekly price action, it is very much overextended. Compared to historical price action, it has very rarely been this far away from its true value. It's also produced very bearish price action, and it's likely to close a bit lower like this today, which means it's implying that next week, if we follow through by breaking the lows, we'll start to head down towards moving averages, which puts us towards the 2,500 mark for a nice, natural, healthy weekly retracement, which is due. So I want to highlight that. So that's what this blue box is for. This highlights the high point at which I think this is a minimum healthy retracement that we're likely to get back down towards 2,500. I should also mention, which is why the $2,000 one mark is here, which goes to the monthly, is a very, very nice clear level of resistance, nice round number, and would be very nice geometrically if price had to come back and test this for support before resuming the uptrend. So that is why that represents the low end. There's no rule that says it has to come back and test the resistance level for support. The moving averages are actually a better guide initially. If I have three potential outcomes, the moving averages would be my first most likely outcome, then key levels secondary outcome in terms of retracements. Here's where it gets really interesting. All right, so I've marked key support resistance levels. There's one at 170, which is an arbitrary number. It makes no sense to me, but there it is. There's one at about 150, okay, depending on which time frame you look at. But this is where it gets interesting. When I go to the quarterly time frame, all right, so if I look at where prices interact with the moving averages, it puts the value around about the 170 mark, which is going back to the weekly, which goes back to, which puts us down at about this level. And then, and this is what I find very interesting, going and looking at the yearly chart. Here's a problem. So price action, when it heads into a bubble or it heads into dangerous territory, usually produces a very large candle, which is then often followed by possibly a smaller candle, and then a return back down to the moving averages. So what this implies is that Amazon between now and potentially 2022 actually has that potential to drop as far as $1,000 within this green area. So in other words, what I've done is allowed for the averages to come up while price is hovering and then coming down, which brackets the top moving average at 150 and the lower moving average at 100. All right, it's a very big time. It has never it hasn't in its history come back to test the moving averages, which it has to. This is the laws of the market. Over time, they have to come back to test those moving averages. So on a much longer term 2 to 3 year plan or 2 to 3 year projection, there is currently, based on this, if this is the correction, based on 100. So in other words, if this had to carry on for 5 more years, those moving averages would climb, and then the potential bottom would be higher. So then it would move up to 150K. But based on this price action right now, the low end, I think, that is really feasible is $1,000 to $1,500 on a yearly basis. However, having said that, on the monthly basis, which I think is more reasonable for now, a return, or at least on a weekly basis, a return towards the blue area, which puts us down at $2,500 to $2,000, is very fair, very reasonable, and very healthy. It might look scary to people on the daily, or people who look at the 5-minute time frames, which is not a realistic way to approach looking at stocks, but that would give us a clear indication of likely buying area as well. There's most likely buy orders already sitting at these levels from big money. So there we go. That's my thoughts on Amazon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you.